Welcome back to Full Disclosure and our program featuring the candidates who are challenging incumbent Steve Cooley for his position as Los Angeles District Attorney. Is Steve Cooley corrupt? We asked Mr. Ipsen.
This district attorney is corrupt because despite the insistence of his prosecutors who are experts in environmental crime, he refuses to prosecute environmental crimes. He disbanded our environmental crimes unit that had 15 attorneys in it. Now there are only 3 that are in other units, and they're not allowed, they're not empowered to go after the devastation of environmental crime. And I've spoken with prosecutors in my office who are told, you cannot pursue that, even though you as a prosecutor know there's a crime there. We had one of our top prosecutors, an expert in environmental crimes, quit the office because she was not allowed to prosecute the extensive and very lucrative recycling fraud going on and other environmental crimes that are going on. It's big business. There's lots of money. And criminal defense attorneys are making a lot of money defending these criminals, and those lawyers are donating to Steve Cooley's campaign. But this DA quit the office and went to the Attorney General's office, where she's now doing a great job prosecuting environmental crimes.
As a member of a local water board, Mr. Robles agrees that Mr. Cooley has failed to enforce environmental laws.
The previous district attorneys had a very clear record of enforcing California's environmental laws. Well, one of the things that Steve Cooley has done since becoming district attorney is cut or gut the prosecution units that were in charge with enforcing California's environmental laws. Your viewers very well know that, for example, he's refused to prosecute any of the alleged shenanigans involved in the Belmont project. And I know that he claims, well, there weren't any crimes committed, there weren't any provable offenses that could be taken to trial. Well, I disagree. I think whether it was the contractor who falsely signed a document saying that the land was safe to use for a school, or whether it was the contractor who overlooked the levels of contamination, those people should have been prosecuted. And why they were never prosecuted is beyond me.
Mr. Ipsen says that Mr. Cooley has a regular pattern of manipulating and undermining his staff to reduce their effectiveness as prosecutors.
Look, there's another case where you had great prosecutors in my office quit because they told Steve Cooley something he didn't want to hear. What they told Steve Cooley was, there's a crime here, we have to investigate, we have to prosecute. So Steve Cooley would say, I'm transferring you somewhere else, bringing the next guy to look at the file until he got someone to say, don't prosecute. He did that with the environmental crimes unit. He had top DAs, experts say prosecute. He transferred them into menial assignments and brought in new people that didn't know environmental crimes. When he doesn't want to prosecute, he'll find someone in the office that doesn't know the subject or is willing to do what he wants and say don't prosecute. And that's how Belmont got buried. That's how you have these great prosecutors quitting our office. And I've never seen it the way it is today, with as many prosecutors demoralized and feeling like we're not doing our job. And they're leaving the office. They're transferring to other offices in the state, other counties. They're becoming judges. They're just flat quitting. They're going to the Attorney General's office, or they're sitting in our office demoralized because they're not allowed to do what they do best. We have our statewide expert in elder abuse. For no reason, doesn't even know why she's been punished, transferred out of a unit, and people who aren't experts in elder abuse are there. And she was the statewide recognized expert involved in training. She's taken out. We, a few years ago, had the expert in cases involving domestic violence against women, against wives. He was dedicated to that. He got transferred out, and he left the office to become a commissioner. All he wanted to do was help protect women in society and help prevent abuse and help them escape the damages of this. And he gave much of his personal time. For whatever reason, Steve Cooley wants to dilute our expertise by transferring DAs out of areas where they're an expert and quitting the DA's association, not allowing us to be trained properly by statewide experts, not allowing us to train others when we're experts. It's doing nothing other than hurting prosecutors' strength and giving the criminal defense bar an edge. We want to work hard. We want to spend our own personal time becoming experts. But our office now is not that kind of environment. It's an environment that says, don't bother investing in your expertise because I, Steve Cooley, don't respect you as a prosecutor.
Mr. Robles claims that Mr. Cooley has become even more corrupt than the former DA that he himself accused of corruption.
In 2000, he accused Gil Garcetti of being concerned with the special interests and taking money from corporate businesses and then, if you will, pursuing their agenda by selectively prosecuting certain businesses who didn't coincide with the business objective of his supporters. Well, today, Steve Cooley takes untold amounts of money from the criminal defense sector. In other words, he raises and finances his campaign on soliciting campaign contributions from criminal defense attorneys, the very same attorneys that then represent the individuals who are then going to be prosecuted by his department, whether that be the white-collar criminal defendant or other criminal defendant or corporate interests. And as a human being, Steve Cooley, I think, just can't help himself. But hey, this individual helped raise, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for my campaign. It's only fair as a human being that he's going to show some differential treatment towards him, or maybe give him some special dispensation, if you will.
Mr. Ipsen agrees with Mr. Robles about Steve Cooley's campaign financing. According to both candidates, Mr. Cooley is taking money from the very people he should be opposing.
You can make great friends when you don't prosecute criminals, okay? And their lawyers will reward you handsomely if they have that ability to. And so when Mr. Cooley threw his birthday party, this is an elected district attorney. At his birthday party a year ago, prosecutors in the office didn't even get invitations. His own employees, we didn't get invitations. Who showed up? Well, I spoke with someone who's there who said hundreds of criminal defense lawyers showed up, and they each gave him $1,000 to his campaign, and their secretaries showed up and gave $1,000 to his campaign. That's who shows up to this district attorney's birthday party. You don't need a DA that's catering to the criminal defense bar.
It's just human nature that if someone does you a favor and helps you out, I think Cooley, being a human being, he's going to feel a certain obligation to return that favor in kind. And it's that process that is corrupting. And as that happens more and more, and it becomes more and more blatant, overt, people start to lose confidence in our judicial system, in our form of justice, and the whole notion that equal justice under the law becomes a joke. And as that becomes a joke, the very foundation and that this country was built on begins to erode and becomes rotten, and literally the country then becomes threatened. And I see that happening not only here, but it happens throughout the country, at the national level. And I think the individuals who talk about controlling the special interests or limiting campaign contributions to individuals, that's what they refer to.
According to Mr. Ipsen, taking money from the wrong people is standard policy with Mr. Cooley.
I can't say he's getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations from the criminal defense bar, and I've been offered money from my friends in the criminal defense bar, and I have not taken it.
During my candidacy for district attorney, I have taken a pledge and refused to accept campaign contributions from the criminal defense bar. I will not accept campaign contributions from any lawyer or individual who may have a matter that comes before me as the district attorney, or who has a present matter before. I just will not accept that campaign contribution.
I respect criminal defense lawyers, but I respect them because I know they're doing their job. Their job is to get a criminal off, and I respect that. Their job is to get a murderer off because they're representing the murderer. But they know that my job is to present all the evidence and do my best to prove the truth. And if the truth is that their client's guilty, they know and respect the fact I am dedicated to proving that. And it's from that respect, recognizing we're on opposite sides, that justice happens. It's like basketball teams in any sporting event. The two teams, they can have respect for each other and be friends, but you don't work with the other side. Steve Cooley's working with the other side. That's the reason I'm running against him. He's writing legislation with the Cochran Law Firm. He's not working with the DA Association. He's working against his fellow prosecutors.